Hello friends, welcome back to my unmade bed. I am currently in the middle of putting together a vlog doing some room cleaning. However, in order to do that, I'm recondoing my life a little bit, and I have decided to try a chapter tag on 10 books that have just been sitting in my room on my bookshelf, of my unread shelf, that just need to go. So I thought we could sit here together and I could try them out, let you know my thoughts, and let you know which ones I am keeping and which ones I will be passing along. So the 10 books that we are going to try a chapter of are The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, Fear of Missing Out by Kate McGovern, The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano, The Lovely War by Julie Berry, The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman, Distant Waves by Suzanne Wen, Unspeakable by Caroline Pignett, Broken Things by Lauren Oliver, The Lady of Bolton Hill by Elizabeth Camden, and last but not least, The Dressmaker, excuse me, by Rosalind Ham. There we go. I apologize in advance if I mispronounced any of those authors' names. So, like I said, we're going to go through, read a chapter or 10 to 15 pages, whichever is equivalent, and I will let you know what I think. Enjoy. Okay friends, I just finished The Dressmaker and my thoughts are probably, I think, going to be saved till I do a full wrap-up of all 10 books. So next I'm going to read The Lady of Bolton Hill by Elizabeth Camden. I finally finished the books. So I thought I would go ahead and give you guys a real quick overview of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions about all of the things that I read, and let you know which ones I'm keeping and which ones I'm getting rid of. Okay, so starting with The Dressmaker by Rosalind Ham. So the first chapter of this was very intriguing. However, it wasn't something that immediately grabbed me right off the bat, and the writing of this was a little too flowery for my taste. This is essentially about a woman, from what I gathered in the first chapter, a woman that's coming home to take care of her mom who's mentally ill, and helping kind of take care of all of that, and just is a dressmaker, very fancy. She has a connection with the local sheriff, and it just seemed intriguing to me. However, I think I'm going to pass it along. Next, I also read The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. Again, this was one that was made into a movie recently, as well as The Dressmaker. This one, the first chapter, or this prologue that I read of this, a couple finds a baby in a boat along with a man who has died, and decide to obviously save the baby. And it was really intriguing. I actually really want to read this one. I am also really interested in seeing the movie. It wasn't like my top pick for the books that I read, however, I was intrigued enough with it to hold on to it. Next, I read The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano. This one was good, but very forgettable. So this one, the synopsis is about a girl that has gem powers from the synopsis. The first chapter I read was really interesting. Kind of like a girl, princess in disguise, going out and kind of being among the people. However, it was very forgettable. It wasn't really interesting enough for me to want to continue in the story. I think there's just a lot of fantasy that I would be more intrigued in, and not this is a reason to get rid of a book, but I really don't like when books have these kind of like beveled pages. It's just like the most annoying thing in the world to me. I don't know why. It just is like, ugh, I don't like it. I just want clean cut, simple standard pages. So, moving on. The next one that I read was Lovely War by Julie Berry. I had no idea what to expect from this. The synopsis of it seems very bizarre. It's like a World War II story combined with like Greek gods. Really interesting concept. However, I was intrigued. I got sucked in. The ending of the first chapter was definitely a hook for me. So, I want to continue. It's a hunk of a book, but I'm definitely intrigued to continue. Next, I read Distant Waves by Suzanne Wen. This one started out very strange. There was a mother trying to talk to the dead. It's supposed to have kind of a Titanic theme. There's 5 sisters. I just was very confused by this. The reviews I've also seen on Goodreads weren't the best, so I decided to pass this one along. Next, I picked up The Hazelwood by Melissa Elbert. This is obviously a very hyped book here on BookTube and YouTube, so I decided to give this one a try and see how I liked it. I was actually really intrigued by the first chapter. It did seem like it had a lot of similar concepts. For those of you guys that don't know about this one, it's a book about a girl whose grandmother wrote a super popular fairy tale series, and her mom in the first chapter are on the, not the run, but like living out of their car, kind of going from place to place. It seemed like a lot of fairy tale beginnings that I had heard before, but the end of the first chapter really kind of started to suck me in, so I think I am going to hold on to this and see how it goes. Next, I read the first chapter of Fear of Missing Out by Kate McGovern. This one I actually am really intrigued by. This seems like a very fluffy but yet also hard-hitting contemporary. So in my September wrap-up, I talked about how I've just not been into contemporaries this year at all. I've probably read more fantasy this year than I've read in a really long time, and this one was actually something I felt like I could get behind. It's about a girl who has brain cancer, and in the first chapter she finds out that it's come back. So I was actually really intrigued to kind of see how this one goes. I remember being really intrigued with it when I remembered it was coming out this year, hence why I picked it up. and I'm excited to continue it. This was definitely at least on the top of my list of wanting to read. Okay, next I read Unspeakable by Caroline Pignett. This one, I believe, isn't a Titanic retelling, but it's kind of seems like it's going that way. It very much reminds me of the Brutus Apetti's book Salt to the Sea. Just from the first chapter, it kind of seems to have that vibe to it. So this is about a girl or a stewardess aboard the Empress of Ireland, and I believe from what I could tell, the ship has an accident and it sinks, and there are two people that end up falling in love, and the woman can't find the man in the beginning of this. So I'm very kind of intrigued to see where this one goes. I loved Salt to the Sea by Brutus Apetti, so I'm excited to see what happens with this. Alright, and last but not least, I read The Lady of Bolton Hill by Elizabeth Camden. This one was a very kind of different type of historical fiction than what I was expecting. It seems very contemporarily written, which I actually kind of enjoy. Like, I feel like the setting of this could happen anywhere in the time frame. Like, it's written in a lot more of a modern way than I actually thought it would be, which I actually kind of like. So I'm actually very intrigued to see what happens with this. This is about two people, Clara and Daniel, and in the very beginning of the book, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but Daniel's father dies, and Daniel and Clara actually bond over Chopin's music, which is how they kind of became friends. And they are from different sides of the tracks. She's from the upper Bolton Hill, more prestigious, wealthy side of town. He's from the steel factory side of town that's a lot more run down. And I don't know, I'm just very intrigued by where this is gonna go. I'm very interested, so I am gonna be holding on to this one. And the last book that I read was Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. I am actually going to be keeping this one. It's a lot darker starting off than I initially thought. This is about two people that get accused of killing their friend, which is normally not something I read, but I love Lauren Oliver's other series that I've read in the past, the Pandemonium one in particular, and I'm just kind of intrigued to see what happens with this. I think it's going to be something I could get into, particularly around this time of year, so I think for now I'm going to hold on to it. We'll see. Alright friends, so that was me trying a chapter tag of all of these 10 books, 3 of which I am going to be parting with, and 10 of which I'm going to hold on to for just a little longer because they piqued my interest enough to want to keep and see what happens next with them. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If there are any ones that you have any feedback on, think I should keep or get rid of, let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!